If you're over 60, every bite you take in the morning either strengthens your heart or quietly strains it. I've spent decades watching patients walk into my clinic proud of their healthy habits, whole grains, low-fat yogurt, fruit smoothies, only to discover that their perfect breakfast was the very thing pushing their heart toward exhaustion. The truth is, aging changes everything. What once nourished your body at 40 can silently sabotage it at 70. Your metabolism slows, your arteries stiffen, and medications that once protected your heart begin to interact differently with the foods you trust most. You feel fine until one day your blood pressure spikes, your chest feels tight, or your heartbeat starts to skip. And it's not from fried food or soda, it's from something far more innocent. I've seen this pattern too many times to stay quiet any longer. The first food that could be doing this might be sitting on your table right now. For most seniors, breakfast feels like a reward. The start of a new day, a moment of calm before the world begins to move again. You wake up, reach for your favorite cereal or a cup of heart-healthy, low-fat yogurt, and tell yourself you're doing the right thing. It feels light, it feels clean, and it feels responsible. But what if I told you that this simple morning ritual, the one you've practiced for years, might be flooding your bloodstream with hidden sugars, powerful enough to inflame your arteries and exhaust your heart before the day even begins? I've seen it again and again in my clinic. Seniors who don't touch desserts, who gave up soda years ago, and who genuinely believe they've mastered healthy eating. But what they don't realize is that the biggest sugar load of their day isn't coming from cookies or cake. It's coming from the breakfast bowl. Flavored yogurts, instant cereals, and so-called energy clusters are often packed with glucose and fructose syrups that act like accelerants on your cardiovascular system. These sugars raise your triglycerides, thicken your blood, and stiffen your arteries, all while making you feel like you're starting the day right. Let me share a story about one of my patients, Elaine. She's 72, sharp-minded, active, and one of the most disciplined people I've ever met. Every morning for over a decade, she started her day with the same breakfast, low-fat strawberry yogurt topped with a handful of bran flakes. She told me proudly, "I haven't touched a donut in 20 years." And she hadn't. But when she came in complaining of constant fatigue and rising cholesterol, her lab results told a different story. Her triglycerides were nearly double what they should have been, and her blood sugar levels had crept into the danger zone. When I asked her about her diet, she smiled, certain I'd approve. Then I showed her the label on her healthy yogurt, 22 grams of sugar in a single cup. Her cereal? Another 12 grams per serving. She was unknowingly starting every morning with the sugar equivalent of a slice of chocolate cake. The problem isn't just the sweetness, it's what sugar does inside your arteries. After 60, your body doesn't metabolize glucose as efficiently as it once did. Excess sugar causes inflammation in the lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium. When that lining becomes irritated, it stiffens. Over time, this makes your arteries less elastic, forcing your heart to pump harder to push blood through. Add to that the insulin spikes that come with every sugary bite, and you create a perfect storm of pressure, inflammation, and fatigue. To make matters worse, many heart-healthy brands replace fat with more sugar. They remove the very thing that provides balance and fullness, tricking your taste buds with sweetness while depriving your body of lasting energy. That's why you might feel hungry again just an hour or two after eating breakfast, reaching for another snack without realizing that your blood sugar is still on a roller coaster. Elaine wasn't the only one. I've treated men and women who swore by their oat clusters, fruit yogurts, and natural granolas, only to find out that these foods were quietly driving inflammation in their arteries. Some even experienced chest tightness after meals, not realizing that the sugar rush was spiking their blood pressure. And it's not just a matter of calories, it's chemistry. Glucose and fructose molecules attach to proteins in your blood, forming compounds called AGEs, advanced glycation end products, that accelerate aging from the inside out. They literally make your blood vessels older than your body. So what should you do instead? The answer isn't to give up breakfast. It's to take back control of it. Start by swapping flavored yogurt for plain Greek yogurt. It's thicker, richer in protein, and naturally lower in sugar. You can sweeten it naturally with cinnamon, nutmeg, or a few slices of fresh fruit like berries, which come with antioxidants that protect your arteries instead of inflaming them. If you love cereal, make your own simple mix. Unsweetened oats with a handful of nuts and seeds. Add a drizzle of honey if you must. But remember, nature's sweetness should enhance your meal, not dominate it. And here's a small secret I've learned from my patients who made the switch. Within just 2 weeks, your taste buds begin to change. What once tasted bland suddenly feels balanced. The constant cravings disappear, your energy lasts longer, and your blood pressure stabilizes. Elaine made that shift too. Today she starts her mornings with Greek yogurt, a sprinkle of cinnamon, and warm oats. Her triglycerides dropped by nearly 40% in 3 months, and her energy came back stronger than ever. Sometimes the most dangerous foods are the ones that wear the disguise of health. They don't taste harmful, they don't feel indulgent, but for a senior heart already working harder with every passing year, that hidden sugar is like a spark in dry grass. It doesn't burn right away, but when it does, the damage spreads quietly and deeply. So before you take that next spoonful, pause for a moment. Look at the label. Read the fine print. Your heart deserves a breakfast that heals, not one that deceives. And if sugar can be hiding in something as innocent as yogurt, what other dangers might be waiting in tomorrow's breakfast? You'll see in a moment. For many seniors, breakfast has become a matter of convenience rather than care. You wake up, your energy is low, and the easiest option is the one that's fast. Instant oatmeal, a breakfast sandwich, or a microwave meal that promises warmth and comfort in minutes. It feels wholesome, even harmless. After all, oats are heart healthy and eggs are full of protein, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Those quick morning fixes often come loaded with hidden salt, so much that it can quietly sabotage your blood pressure before you've even finished your first cup of coffee. I've met countless seniors who tell me proudly that they've cut down on fried food and junk snacks, only to discover that their healthy breakfast is drowning in sodium. Instant oatmeal packets, especially flavored ones, can contain up to 400 milligrams of sodium each. Add a breakfast sandwich or a slice of processed cheese, and you can easily exceed 1,000 milligrams before the day truly begins. That's almost half of the daily limit recommended for older adults, consumed before 9 a.m. And the danger isn't just numbers on a label, it's what that sodium does once it enters your bloodstream. Salt pulls water into your blood vessels. This increases the volume of your blood, forcing your heart to pump harder to move it through arteries that are already less flexible with age. Over time, this constant pressure wears down your heart muscle and stiffens your arteries even more. You may not feel it happening, but your heart does. For seniors, especially those over 60, this daily sodium overload can quietly raise blood pressure, increase swelling in the ankles, and cause fluid buildup that makes the heart work overtime just to keep you alive. And it's not just the heart that suffers. As we age, our kidneys lose efficiency. These small organs, once so skilled at flushing out excess salt and toxins, can no longer keep up. The sodium stays in your system longer, circulating and straining the very organs that are meant to protect you. That's why I often tell my patients, what you think is comfort food in the morning can become your body's greatest stress test. One of my patients, Robert, is a perfect example. He's 68, a retired truck driver with a calm smile and a long history of borderline high blood pressure. Every morning for years, he made himself a quick breakfast before his walk. Instant maple oatmeal, a breakfast sandwich with egg and cheese, and a cup of coffee with a pinch of salt to cut the bitterness. He thought it was a balanced meal, fiber, protein, and not a donut in sight. But his blood pressure readings kept climbing, 150/95, then 160, then 170. Medication helped, but never enough. When he came to see me, we reviewed his habits. Robert was shocked when I calculated that his breakfast alone often contained more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium. How? He asked. I handed him the packaging. The oatmeal alone, 310 milligrams. The sandwich, over 800. The cheese slice, another 250. That's just breakfast, I told him. Imagine what your heart has to do to push all that salt through your veins every single morning. He was silent for a moment, then nodded slowly. I thought I was eating smart, he said. Together, we made a plan. He swapped his instant oatmeal for whole rolled oats cooked on the stove with water and cinnamon. He replaced processed cheese with a few slices of fresh avocado and used herbs instead of salt for flavor. Within 6 weeks, his blood pressure dropped by nearly 20 points. His ankles no longer swelled at night, and for the first time in years, he said he felt light. His heart wasn't fighting against a tidal wave of sodium anymore. It was finally at peace. The truth is, salt doesn't announce its danger the way sugar does. There's no sweetness to warn you, no taste that screams excess. It hides in plain sight, in sauces, seasonings, and even so-called healthy convenience foods. And while a younger body can flush it out, a senior heart cannot. Each grain of salt you don't see adds up, turning into pressure, strain, and silent damage that builds over time. That's why I always tell my patients, take control of your kitchen again. Cook your oats slowly with water or milk. Use cinnamon, nutmeg, or a few berries for sweetness. Add a boiled egg or a spoonful of plain Greek yogurt for protein. It might take a few minutes longer, but those minutes are an investment in your heart's strength. Robert's story isn't unique. It's a reminder that healing doesn't come from restriction, but from awareness. The foods that promise speed and convenience often take something from you in return: your stability, your circulation, your energy. And if salt can hide in a bowl of oatmeal or a simple sandwich, what else might be slipping past your guard in the name of morning energy? The next danger isn't about what's on your plate, it's what's in your cup. And it might be the very thing you depend on to wake up each day. For millions of seniors, the day doesn't truly begin until that first sip of coffee. The smell alone feels like life returning, a warm ritual, a moment of comfort before the day unfolds. And for some, that mug is followed by a second, maybe even an energy boost later in the morning to stay sharp. It feels harmless, even necessary. But what if that morning habit, the one that helps you feel alive, is quietly forcing your heart to work harder than it should? Coffee itself isn't the enemy. In fact, black coffee in moderation can have real cardiovascular benefits, improving circulation, supporting mental clarity, and even protecting against certain metabolic conditions. The danger begins when that pure cup turns into a dessert in disguise. Most of the coffee Americans drink today isn't coffee anymore. It's a mixture of sugar, artificial flavorings, creamers, and chemical additives that hit your bloodstream like a jolt of lightning. And for a heart over 60, that jolt can be devastating. I once treated a patient named Linda, a 70-year-old retired teacher who loved her morning treat. Every day, she brewed her coffee, poured in a generous splash of flavored creamer, and topped it with a packet of energy-boosting powder she bought online. She told me it helped her stay focused and feel young again. But over time, she started noticing strange things. Her heart would flutter after breakfast. She'd feel dizzy when she stood up too quickly, and sometimes her hands would tremble for no reason. At first, she blamed aging. When she finally came in for a checkup, her EKG showed irregular heart rhythms, small but dangerous arrhythmias that were stressing her cardiovascular system. The culprit wasn't her age, it was her coffee. You see, those flavored creamers are loaded with sugars and hydrogenated oils that spike both blood sugar and cholesterol. The energy powders and drinks often contain caffeine doses far higher than what your body can safely process at this age, along with synthetic stimulants that trigger an adrenaline surge. In your younger years, your heart could handle those spikes. But after 60, your body's stress response becomes less forgiving. Each rush of adrenaline raises your heart rate and blood pressure, forcing your heart into mini workouts it never signed up for. Over time, these repeated surges can wear down your cardiac muscle, disrupt rhythm, and even trigger palpitations or shortness of breath. What makes it worse is that many of these drinks are marketed as healthy alternatives, sugar-free, low-calorie, or fortified with vitamins. But the hidden truth is that artificial sweeteners and stimulants like guarana, taurine, or ginseng can amplify your body's stress response even more. The result? A tired heart that keeps beating faster, not stronger. Many of my patients don't even realize this is happening because the effects are subtle at first. They just feel wired, a little anxious, or unable to nap in the afternoon. But behind the scenes, their blood vessels are constricting, their blood pressure is creeping up, and their heart rhythm is becoming erratic. Now, this doesn't mean you have to give up coffee entirely. In fact, 1 or 2 cups of plain black coffee a day can be beneficial, especially if you skip the sweeteners, the syrups, and the heavy creamers. The key is purity and moderation. The moment you start turning coffee into a flavor experience or a performance drink, you're crossing into dangerous territory. Your heart doesn't need stimulation, it needs stability. I advised Linda to cut out her flavored creamers and ditch the energy additives completely. For a week, she experienced headaches and fatigue, signs of caffeine withdrawal. But by the second week, her heart rhythm began to stabilize. Within a month, her energy was steady without the highs and crashes. She told me, "I never realized how much stress I was putting on my heart just to feel awake." Her new ritual became simple: a small cup of black coffee, a deep breath, and a 5-minute walk outside. There's a certain irony in how the body works after 60. The things that once gave us energy now take it away. The heart doesn't need more stimulation. It needs support, calm, and balance. If your morning cup is packed with sugar, additives, or boosters, you're not giving your heart energy, you're giving it anxiety. And yet, as dangerous as these coffee additives can be, there's another morning drink that poses an entirely different kind of risk. It doesn't raise your heart rate. It doesn't overstimulate. Instead, it does the opposite. It thins your blood too much. It may look pure, green, even cleansing, but for a senior heart, it can quietly turn healing into harm. What if that drink, the one you believe is helping your body detox, is actually weakening the very muscle that keeps you alive? Let's talk about that next. It's easy to believe that a glass of green juice and a side of protein make for the perfect healthy breakfast. You picture strength, balance, and a sense of renewal with every sip and bite. But for many seniors, this well-intentioned combination, fresh juice and a bit of bacon or sausage, has quietly become one of the most dangerous pairings for the heart. One inflames your blood vessels while thinning your blood too much, and the other clogs them with salt, fat, and chemicals. The result is a hidden tug-of-war inside your bloodstream that leaves your heart overworked and exhausted. Let's start with the green juice craze. Over the last decade, juicing has been celebrated as a miracle habit for detoxing the body and cleansing the organs. And yes, many of these juices are packed with nutrients, but for a senior heart, that health boost can quickly become biochemical chaos. Most raw green juices, especially those made from spinach, kale, or beet greens, are loaded with vitamin K and oxalates. Vitamin K thickens the blood, which for someone taking heart medications like warfarin or other blood thinners can quietly undo the protection those drugs provide. I've seen patients who were faithfully drinking a daily green juice while taking anticoagulants, believing they were doing something healing. In reality, their medication was being blocked, leaving them vulnerable to dangerous clots without any warning signs. The story doesn't end there. Those same greens, when consumed raw and in concentrated juice form, can also overload the kidneys with oxalates, natural compounds that form crystals in the body. As we age, the kidneys lose efficiency, and high oxalate levels can lead to stone formation or inflammation that further elevates blood pressure. A drink that's supposed to cleanse ends up forcing your organs to fight for balance. The irony is heartbreaking. A food that heals in moderation becomes harmful in excess, especially when the body is no longer as resilient as it once was. I remember a patient named June, a 75-year-old woman who swore by her morning green juice. She made it every day. Spinach, kale, parsley, and a touch of lemon. She was disciplined, energetic, and proud of her health routine. But when she came to see me after experiencing shortness of breath and leg swelling, her blood work revealed clotting irregularities. Her medication levels were fluctuating wildly, and her kidneys showed early signs of strain. When we removed the daily juice and replaced it with lightly steamed vegetables and hydration through warm water with lemon, her numbers stabilized within weeks. June told me later, "I thought I was feeding my heart. I didn't realize I was confusing it." On the other side of the breakfast plate lies a completely different villain. Processed breakfast meats, bacon, sausage, and ham have long been symbols of comfort, flavor, and tradition. But behind their satisfying taste is a deadly cocktail of sodium nitrites, oxidized fats, and preservatives. Each bite floods your arteries with compounds that stiffen vessel walls and trigger chronic inflammation. The high salt content increases blood volume, forcing your heart to push harder with every beat, while the processed fats damage the inner lining of your arteries, setting the stage for plaque buildup. When you pair that heavy, salty protein with a raw green juice, your body receives two conflicting signals, one that thickens the blood and another that strains it. It's like stepping on the gas and brake at the same time. The heart doesn't know which way to turn. Over time, this combination leads to dangerous fluctuations in blood viscosity and pressure, increasing the risk of arrhythmias, clotting, or even stroke. What makes this so dangerous is how normal it all seems. It's breakfast, it's healthy juice, and just a few slices of bacon. But to an aging heart, those simple choices can mean the difference between vitality and vulnerability. The good news is that small changes can completely reverse the damage. Instead of raw green juices, opt for steamed or sautéed greens, spinach, kale, or broccoli, with a drizzle of olive oil and lemon. Light cooking breaks down oxalates and reduces vitamin K concentration, making it safer for those on medication. For protein, swap out the bacon and sausage for lean options like grilled salmon, poached eggs, or even a spoonful of lentils or tofu. These foods provide the strength your body craves without flooding your arteries with salt or chemicals. June made that switch too. She now enjoys warm oats with steamed spinach and a bit of avocado for breakfast. Her blood pressure normalized, her energy improved, and she told me she finally feels steady, a word every heart longs to hear. Your morning meal should be a moment of restoration, not resistance. Every sip, every bite sends a message to your heart, either calm or chaos. The choice is in your hands. But here's the most hopeful truth. Even if years of these habits have taken their toll, your heart can still recover. Because the next step isn't just about avoiding danger, it's about learning how to rebuild strength, one heartbeat at a time. If you've made it this far, take a deep breath. Feel your chest rise, your heart still steady beneath your ribs. That same heart has beaten over 2 billion times for you, without ever asking for rest, without ever demanding repayment. Every morning it starts again, ready to serve you. But as I've seen in my decades of caring for aging hearts, even the strongest rhythm can grow tired if it's forced to fight alone. The foods we choose each morning can either lift that burden or make it heavier. The choice is small but powerful, and it begins the moment you open your eyes. Think back to what we've uncovered together. The first hidden danger was sugar, the silent spike from flavored yogurts and healthy cereals that stiffen your arteries and inflame your bloodstream before the day even starts. You saw how something as innocent as breakfast could quietly drain your heart's strength. Then came the salt, hiding inside instant oats and breakfast sandwiches. It wasn't the taste that hurt you, but the invisible pressure it placed on your arteries, forcing your heart to pump against an ever-thickening tide. After that, we met the so-called energy boosters, the sugar-laden creamers and stimulants that make you feel alive for an hour, but leave your heart trembling by noon. And then came the final two, the green juices and processed meats, that strange combination of health and habit that confuses your circulation, pushing and pulling your blood in two opposite directions. Each one of these choices seems small, harmless, even smart. But together, they create a morning storm, a perfect blend of sugar, salt, caffeine, and chemical stress that leaves your heart gasping for balance. I've seen it in my patients' eyes, the fatigue that doesn't go away, the swelling in the ankles, the sudden rush of pressure behind the temples. They think it's just aging, but the truth is it's often breakfast. It's the routine that's been repeated for so long, the comfort that turned into quiet harm. The beauty of the human heart is that it never stops trying to heal. Even after decades of strain, it can still recover when given the chance. I've watched seniors reverse their blood pressure, regain their stamina, and restore their calm just by changing the way they start their mornings. You don't need to become a nutrition expert or give up everything you love. You just need awareness, an honest look at what your body is asking for. Warm oats instead of instant, plain Greek yogurt instead of flavored, black coffee instead of chemical creamers, steamed greens instead of raw juice, and lean fish or eggs instead of bacon. Each choice may feel small, but for your heart, it's like lifting a weight off its shoulders. I remember one patient who told me, "Doctor, I didn't think changing breakfast could change my life." 3 months later, her energy was back, her numbers were normal, and she said she finally felt peace again, inside and out. That's the power of listening to your body. It rewards you when you treat it with patience instead of punishment. So as you prepare for tomorrow morning, I want you to pause for just a moment. Look at your breakfast not as a habit, but as a decision. Every bite, every sip sends a message to your heart. Either I'm with you or you're on your own. Make the choice that tells your heart it's not alone anymore, because it's carried you through every joy, every struggle, every sunrise you've ever known. It's time to carry it back. And if this message spoke to you, if you feel even the smallest spark of determination to start fresh, leave a 1 in the comments below. If you're still unsure, if you're not ready yet, that's okay too. Leave a 0. Either way, you're part of this conversation. Because awareness is the first step toward healing, and healing always begins with the heart.